Good afternoon, everyone. Today we shall begin with a new chapter, that is Arthur and the Sword. So, in the story, let us begin the story. After King Uther Pendragon of Britain died, apparently with no son to succeed, a dispute arose in the country about who should be the next king. Every knight in the region wanted to seize the crown for himself. So King Uther, his name was King Uther Pendragon of Britain, that means England, he died, and the sad thing was that when he died, he had no son. So after his death, there was a quarrel among his soldiers as to who should become the king of England. There was a fight, we should say. Next, but King Uther did in fact have a son whose name was Arthur. No one knew of him, for he had been taken away secretly while he was still a baby by a wise old man called Merlin and left in the care of Sir Ector, a noble and faithful knight. But he had a son, but nobody knew about it. Okay, he actually had a son, and his name was Arthur. When he was very young, one person, he was an old person, his name was Merlin. He took him away and gave it to another person whose name was Sir Ector. He was also a knight in the kingdom of England. He was very good, noble and faithful person. King Arthur had grown up thinking that Sir Ector was his father and Sir Kay, his son, was his older brother. So Sir Ector had one son also. His name was Kay. And so Arthur, as he grew up, he did not know who his father was. His father was actually King Uther Pendragon, but he did not know about that. He thought that Sir Ector was his father and that Sir Kay was his older brother. So what happened? There was a quarrel in the kingdom and it was not decided who will become the king. So what happened to resolve the dispute that was raging in the country? And Archbishop, on the advice of Merlin, invited all the lords and knights to London. It was Christmas time, and in the great cathedral a solemn service was held and prayer was made to God to show some sign of who should be the rightful king of Britain. So there was a dispute, there were quarrel, and who would become, everyone wanted to become the king. So what happened? The archbishop, that means the chief priest of the cathedral, the priest, you will say the person, the holy one. So he decided, he was advised by Merlin. You know, Merlin already was the old wise man who handed over Arthur to Sir Ector. Okay, it was the same old man. He decided to invite, and he advised the archbishop, and they decided to invite all the lords, that means those who are holding high position in the government. They decided to call them and to London. Okay, so all the important decisions were taken in London. It was Christmas time, and in the great cathedral a solemn service was held and prayer was made to God to show some sign of who should be the rightful king of Britain. So there was a prayer meet in the cathedral, that means the church. Okay, when the service was over, there appeared a strange stone in the churchyard. Okay, so after finishing prayer, what happened? A miracle happened out in the back of the church. Okay, so what happened? A strange stone appeared, and what was there in the stone? It was something very unusual. It happened. Okay, so it was a great white stone, like marble, with a naked sword. So the sword did not have any cover. It was naked. Okay, stuck in the midst of it. So in the stone, the sword was stuck inside the stone. Is it possible for any sword to be stuck inside a stone? Stone usually is very hard, but here it was very different. The sword was in fact stuck inside the stone, like marble with a naked sword stuck in the midst of it. The sword had letters of gold written on it, which read, "Whosoever pulleth the sword out of the stone and anvil is the rightly born king of all England." So it says that whoever can pull out the sword from the stone, he only can become the king of England. All the king who had gathered there wondered at a strange sword and its strange writing. Everyone could not believe actually what is it. Okay, and when the archbishop gave them permission, many of the knights tried to pull the sword from the stone, hoping to be the king, but no one could move it even a hair's breadth. So everyone wanted to become the king. They all tried to pull out the sword, but no one was able to take it out. Okay, so he's now here, said the archbishop. No, none of you is legal to become the king of England, because the one who can pull out this sword only can become the king of England. So I believe no one is here. who is chosen to be the king, but God will make him known soon. But I have full faith in God that God is going to reveal that person to us very soon. Any day. Any man may try his skill at withdrawing the sword at 12th day, okay? After 12 days, again we will call all of you, and all of you can try and take out the sword, and whoever can take out the sword, that fellow can become the king of England. But until that day, let all be patient, and until then, we shall appoint certain knights of pure fame to guard the stone. So, till that day, some very important soldiers will be guarding this stone and the sword. The archbishop then arranged that on New Year's Day there should be jousts and tournament and other fine events, so that the knights and the common people should be kept together till the king should be revealed. So what happened on New Year's Day? What did the archbishop decided to hold a tournament, and so that everyone stay united. They wanted that the country should not be divided. People should unite together to find out the real king. And to this tournament came Sir Ector and his son Sir Kay, who had just been knighted. And in this tournament, who came? The person who was looking after Arthur. That is who? Sir Ector. His elder son was there. His name was Sir Kay. Okay, he also became recently a knight. So he also came, and so they all participated in the event. When they reached the grounds where the tournament was to be held, Sir Kay found that he had left his sword behind in the castle where they had spent the previous night. He asked young Arthur to fetch it for him. So while coming, they stayed in a castle. A castle is a kind of big palace type only building, a large building. So there they stayed, and there he forgot his sword. He kept his sword there, and so he sent Arthur to go and bring back the sword, because he came to the tournament without his sword. But when Arthur reached the castle, there was no one to let him in. But when he reached the castle, there was no one. Maybe the gates were closed. Then Arthur remembered the sword that he had seen in the churchyard. I will go to the churchyard, he said, and take the sword with me. So what he decided, while coming back, he has seen that sword, which was that empty sword, that naked sword in the midst of the stone, right? He has seen that. So he decided that he will go and pull it out and bring it and give it to his brother, older brother, that is Sir Kay. So he rode into the deserted churchyard where the stone with the sword stood unguarded. That at that time no guards were there. Guards had also gone to take part in the tournament. Okay, the guarding knights were away at the tournament. Going up to the stone, young Arthur took the great glistening sword by the handle, and lightly then deftly he drew it out of the stone. Okay, so he went. So many people before also they have tried, but they have not been able to take out his sword. But he went, and the sword was shining like anything. So he just went and he pulled it out, and it came out. Okay, so you just imagine. And lightly and deftly he drew out of the stone. He rode back fast and delivered the sword to Sir Kay. So he came and gave it to his older brother. That was who? Sir Kay. But as soon as Sir Kay saw, he knew well it was a sword from the stone. He rode swiftly to his father. But he knew that the sword was there in the church backyard. And he also knew that many people had tried to take it out, but they were not able to take it out. How this boy could bring it? So he straight away went to his father. But as soon, sir, cried Sir Kay, his voice trembling. He was very fearful. Why? Because that sword, nobody could bring it out. And now, see, it is in his hand. So he was a little bit fearful also. But he also wanted to be the king. So he was happy. At the same time, he was fearful as well. His voice trembling, surely, I and none other am chosen to be the king of England, since in my hand I bear the sword of stone. So he told his father that surely I am to become the king of England. Why? Because this sword is in my hand. Okay. On seeing the sword his son carried, Sir Ector turned to him and asked, "Tell me, did you pluck it from the stone? Did you take it out from the stone?" Sir Kay's face fell, and he answered stoutly, "No, I did not pick it up. My brother Arthur, who went back to fetch what I have forgotten, brought me the sword. Okay, I forgot my own sword in the castle, so I sent him to bring that back, but he did not find mine. The castle, no one was there in the castle. So he came to the church, and in the backyard, in the churchyard, he just went and pulled it out and brought it and gave it to me." Then Sir Ector turned to Arthur. "Tell me, did you pluck the sword from the stone?" He could not believe, okay, that this boy was able to pluck it out. So he said, "Tell me, did you really pluck out the sword from the stone?" The boy said, "Yes." Having found all the doors in the castle locked, he hurried back to the churchyard and plucked the sword from the stone that rested. He said that, yes, actually I went to fetch the sword from my brother, but the doors were closed, so I came and pulled this sword and gave it to him. Then Sir Ector became thoughtful, but he had some doubt. Maybe the child may be telling lies also, who knows? So he could not believe them exactly also. So he decided to find it out by himself. He made them turn about and ride back to the churchyard that lay some distance behind them. The young Arthur replaced the sword in the stone. So his father told that, go, you put that sword back, and in front of me, you show me whether you have really pluck it from there. My son, draw out the sword, said Sir Ector to Sir Kay, and Sir Kay tried once and twice, his muscles cracking and his face aflame, but he could not. So this time who tried? The older one, Sir Kay tried. But he tried and tried, but he was not able to bring out the sword from inside the stone. However, when Arthur laid his hand upon the sword, it slid from the stone as sunbeam across the wall, and when he had replaced it, it struck as fast as before. So what happened? When Arthur tried, it came out so easily. Then Sir Ector said to the boy, you were entrusted to me while yet a babe. Yeah, I know that you are not my real son. You were given to me by this man called Merlin. But I don't know which household you belong. I never asked you also. But I know that you are not of ordinary family. You may be of a very high family. Okay? But your parentage was not made known to me. Now I begin to think that you are of a higher destiny, and then I thought, let us travel to the archbishop and tell him of all these events. Okay, so let us go back to the priest, the archbishop, and tell him about all these things. Because in that stone it is written that whoever can pull that sword out of the stone, he only can become the king of England. So they went to the archbishop and told him the sword had found its master. Okay, archbishop was told that the master has been found. Okay, the archbishop appointed a day for the trial to be made inside of all the people. Okay, one day he made, because people will not believe, right? So what he did, he invited all the people so that the others also can try, and whoever can pull it out in front of the public, he will become the king. On that day, the princes and the knights came together, and each tried to draw out the sword as before, but as before, none could much as stir it. Then came Arthur and pulled it easily from its place. Okay, so everyone tried, no one was able to take it out. At last Arthur came and easily took it out from the stone. The knights and princes were terribly angry that a mere boy from nowhere, in particular this boy from nowhere, he is not even the son of a king or a high family. He does not even belong to a high family, and how he can pluck out the sword. They were very angry because they thought that they will become the king. But actually it was not like that. Okay, so actually he was the son of the king. People did not know about that. Okay, but it was going to be revealed in this manner. They appointed, and they refused to acknowledge him king. They appointed another day. That day they did not believe. So again the archbishop, what he did, another day he again kept for a trial. Again they will try it again. 3 times they did this, and every time the same thing happened. And what happened? Every time who only could pull out the sword from the stone, it was Arthur. Every time the others failed. Okay, at last, at the feast of Pentecost, it is a huge festival like event. Okay, the feast of Pentecost, and where all public also came, many people came. Arthur again pulled out the sword before all the knights and the common people. Then the people rose, crying with one voice, Arthur shall be our king. No, this time it was the common people came to the forefront, and they said that he will be our king because he has been appointed by God. Okay, so he says Arthur shall be our king, has not a sword, and therefore the voice of God. Yes, see how many people tried to take out his sword, but none were able to do it. But he came, and see, easily he took out. That means he has been appointed by God. God wants that Arthur should become the king of our England. Okay, so in this way everyone offered, knelt and bowed down before him, and they accepted him their king. And so Arthur became king of England, and all gave him allegiance. And so in this way he became rightly the king of England. Okay, so this is the end of the story. I hope all of you liked it and enjoyed it. I want you all to read it all over again and again, 3-4 times, for better understanding. Thank you.